Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Please like and subscribe if you like my content. I am here today with Come Build With Me, 15 minutes at a time. We're working on my Greenhouse Nectary right now. I'm just gonna go back in and add a couple details to the bathroom that I did last time. Last time I worked on the actual nectary part of the Greenhouse Nectary, and I also did the bathroom stalls and everything. So I'm just gonna add some more details, and then my goal for today is to work on the big banquet hall, which I'm really excited to do. The banquet hall is what's going to make it so that you can like have weddings here. Obviously not functionally, I'll need a wedding arch because it's The Sims, but the banquet hall will really tie it together to make it look nice, right? So let me pull up my reference photo for you guys. What I'm gonna use today is this portion right here. So this is kind of the vibe I'm going for. And I'm just gonna, whoa, craziness. I'm just gonna make it a little bit smaller so you can still see it, but like it doesn't block everything that I'm doing. I probably won't leave it up the entire time, but there it is. That's kind of what I'm going for. I'm messing with the curtains right now. Last time I also did the windows, which was really, really fun. But curtains really draw the room together, and I'm just trying to see how I want the walls covered. Because having blank walls isn't always like the most fun in a build. It's definitely not interesting. So I'm thinking I want curtains around the entire room, even if I don't have windows around the entire room. But let's see. Let me give you a brief idea about what I'm doing. I love greenhouses. I'm a huge plant nerd. Love plants. And I love greenhouses, and I wanted to bring that love of like my real life into like my Sims games. So my Sims can come and visit a greenhouse, or, you know, have a fun place that they could get married. I made it a nectary to give it some functionality beyond being a bar, mostly because I like emotional gameplay and being able to come when you get married and like make a nectar bottle, or when your child is born and make a nectar bottle. Like, the emotional gameplay side of it is so fun and I love it, and it makes it more meaningful, at least to me. So trying to decide on a door. Obviously I don't want that little brown one, but I'm not sure what I do want. I know I want it to be grand. I have the windows curved, but I don't know that I can find a door to also be curved. So I'm just gonna play around with some things. I already decided on like the front side of the building and what kind of door I wanted there. So I want the back to somewhat match, but it's hard with all the different packs and everything to make everything match because most of it doesn't match. But I'll figure it out. Basically, the room to the side there that you can see is going to be the greenhouse portion of the Greenhouse Nectary. I have a bar in the front, and then to the side you can make the nectar bottles, have to have a restroom, right? Have the actual greenhouse part, and then in the center is a big banquet hall for events of any kind. You could do birthdays, you could do weddings, obviously. Any kind of events that you want to do. I just had the thought, the reason I paused there was because I don't usually throw my adult Sims birthday parties. Like, usually I will throw a birthday party for like the kids. Usually infants to toddlers I don't, but like toddlers, I don't throw like a social event birthday, but I will do like, oh, we're inviting the whole family over, and then once they're kids, it's like, oh, we're inviting all your friends over, you know? But as adults, it's kind of just like, oh, you're having your birthday, like, we're all here, because they usually have like a family from young adult to adult and from adult to elder. But it would be really fun to come with all of your like young adult friends, you know, and like make nectar bottles on the cusp of becoming an adult. I don't know. Do what you will with it, and I will do what I will with this build once it's done. Last time I talked about my study abroad. Mostly I stuck to my highlights in France, which I loved France. It was great. But this time, I think we're going to talk about 2 of 3, right? London. So I also was able to go to Scotland, and maybe I'll talk about that next video. But I think I'm going to talk about my highlights from London this time. So, first highlight was the weather, which seems really boring, but when I was in London, it would be a nice, clear, like, sunny day, and then it would all of a sudden just start pouring rain for like 5 to 8 minutes at a time. And you would just have to like duck into a shop or like ice cream shop or like tourist shop and just stay there until the rain let up. And it would only last for about 5 minutes, and then it would be totally clear again. You just like continue on your way. And personally, I really loved that weather. A lot of the people in my group thought it was inconvenient, but I thought it was great. It was wonderful. I love rain. I don't love gloomy rain, but I do love when it rains, you know? Right now, I'm trying to find the placement for the speaker, because most events you need to play music, and it's just easier if there's already a speaker in the place where you're holding the event. So I know that I want a speaker, but I want to keep the vibes of like the rustic, classy. So that's what I'm trying to find, is how to do the music in a way that is nice but also matches the vibe of everything else. I decided on these big round tables just because I think they're really nice. I'm not sure about the color though. And then having the chairs covered in the white cloth really makes it more formal, I feel like. Having a tablecloth on the tables would also make it feel more formal, but also I don't want it to be like black tie formal. I mean, most weddings are like black tie, but I don't know. In The Sims, it feels a little too formal, if you know what I mean. I kind of want to look at something else and see if it fits better. Maybe doing smaller tables instead of the bigger tables. I don't know. I'm going to experiment with it a little bit. And while I do, I'm going to talk about museums! Growing up in America, my parents took me to museums a couple times, right? Especially, like, dinosaur museums, because I loved dinosaurs as a child. And I still do, as an adult. But they aren't free here. They're actually pretty expensive, which is why it was only like a couple times as a kid. But in London, the museums are free. It was crazy. It blew my mind, this concept that, oh, I could just go to the museum, walk in, and just enjoy learning. And I did. They have a big dinosaur museum there. Their museum of like natural history, I think. And I love looking at dinosaur bones, and when they make exhibits and like have, oh, what we think they would have looked like. And they have that, and they have giant whale bones like all stretching across the ceiling when you walk in. So cool. I loved it a lot. They also have like amenities inside that you can pay for to help fund, you know, the museum. So like they had a history exhibit of like mankind's flight journey. So all the different things that we did to get to airplanes. And they had like a flight simulator where you get into it and it like moves you around as though you're in like an airplane. Like you're flying your own airplane. So you could pay to do that. But for the most part, like, the exhibits are free, and most of the stuff you can do in there is free, and a lot of stuff is hands-on, and I thought it was really fun. It really rekindled my like joy of just learning, you know? And I feel like I'd go to museums all the time if they're free here. I don't know. I thought it was super cool. Then I have to talk about my experience going to Universal Studios because I love Harry Potter. I grew up reading it all the time, constantly, like every year I would reread the series until I was like graduated from high school. And then I've reread it as an adult and I still love it. There's a certain magic that comes from reading it for me. And I love the movies. I have my gripes, you know, how they're not exactly like the books, but I'm not going to talk about that. I really enjoyed seeing all the behind the scenes mechanics of how they made the movies. It was incredible. And I'm an adult, you know, it didn't kill the magic for me to know that the letters that shoot out of the mailbox isn't because of magic, it's because of a machine. But it was so cool to see that machine, you know? I have so many pictures of all of the props and everything, and the group that came with me, they all loved Harry Potter too, but I was the one that was like, oh my gosh, I know what every single thing in this entire building is from. And they said it was super fun to go with me and be like, okay, she's the nerd, she knows everything, she'll tell us everything about all of it. So that was so much fun. I loved going to Universal Studios. It was super worth it for me to spend the money to do that. And it's not in London, so we had to like take a bus. But I will remember that day forever, and it is great. The other thing I need to talk about that was a wonderful experience for me was West End. I'm also a musical girly, and I had the opportunity to see Phantom of the Opera and Wicked, which are two of my favorite musicals of all time. And the effects that they have at West End are so cool. A big part of Phantom of the Opera is at the beginning they have a chandelier, and it was incredible because they drop the chandelier towards the audience. It doesn't hit the audience at all. Like, no, the mechanics are well thought out and well planned, but it drops towards the audience and then it swings to the stage. And then they proceed with like the prologue of the musical, and when they play the overture, because the story's actually beginning, they lift it back up, and it's just beautiful. It was amazing. I loved it so much. It filled me with such joy. And Wicked was amazing. Always amazing. There's a reason it's so popular, and I love it. And now the movie's come out, so if you haven't seen it, please go see it, because guess what? It's amazing. It's an amazing story. And in the play, you have all the mechanical parts, right? So you have like the Wizard of Oz's gigantic face, and in the play, he's super mechanic and he moves around and it's actually kind of scary, which is supposed to be when he's being the Wizard of Oz, right? Oh, it was just so much fun and so worth it. If you're ever in London and you like musicals, go to West End. Man. And compared to like Broadway tickets here, it's not as expensive, but it's like similar or even like better quality, I would say. Not having been to Broadway, but like, you know, we talk about it and stuff. Well, that's enough about my study abroad. Back to the build, right? I've settled on tables, I've settled on chairs, I even picked a couple centerpieces for the tables just because it makes it look nicer. I decided I'm going to have a counter over in the side because it's nice. Put a coffee machine there, just putting some like things to make it look like it's actually used and not just a bare counter, you know? But we're just about finished. I think we're at 14 minutes 30 seconds right now. So I'm just rearranging stuff really fast, trying to make it fit the way that I want to. And then this is a trick that I do with BB Move objects. You can stick them to a counter, move the counter, and then they'll stay at the height. So if you move the counter out of the way, you can place the objects where you want them to be and they won't slot. See how I'm doing it? And then you can put the counter back and it'll stay in that spot and it'll look nicer than if you slotted it to a specific part of the counter. At least I think it looks nicer. So now I'm gonna try, in my last couple seconds, to put some wallpaper up onto the walls. Again, I want it to be classy, elegant, but I think I'm just gonna go with white for now, or yellow. Yellow is what's in the reference photo. So I think that's where I'm gonna end it. So thank you guys for watching. Again, like and subscribe, and see you next time.